Alright, we're back with another video. This is some footage from Splatoon 2, obviously, but let's talk about it. The reason I'm making this video is because I recently got into a conversation with a friend of mine who was adamant that that Street Fighter V was a good game, and I was like, look, I'm not. And his argument for why it was a good game wasn't like any type of technical argument. It was just, well, I enjoy the game, so it must be good. And basically, I was like, well, just because you enjoy something doesn't make it good. And he was getting mad at me because I was like, you know, just because you like something, that doesn't make it good. I mean, crackheads fucking like, crack. That doesn't make crack good. I mean, just because you like something doesn't make it good. And so I was like, you need to have a better reason as to why this would be good. Like, is it a well-made game? Is it, you know, does it take advantage of, you know, the things it needs to be able to do? Stuff like that. So essentially, I'm sitting here like, bruh, like, you know, like, just because you like something doesn't make it good. Now, I mean, an acquaintance of mine on YouTube, our quintessential good friend, Liger Vin Duo, will say, well, there's no such thing as a perfect game. I hate when people say there's no such thing as a perfect game, because there are perfect games. It's just, the thing about a perfect game is that there are perfect games. It's just, the thing is that a perfect game is, like, you can't argue that something is well made or perfect with subjective arguments. Now, you could say, okay, on a technical level, this game is perfect. Like, I could make the argument that on a technical level, Zelda: A Link to the Past is a perfect Zelda. I could actually make a legit argument that that is the case. I could say, well, you know, the game is relatively well made. It's it combines the aspects that people like about The Legend of Zelda with things that people don't like about The Legend of Zelda. You know, I could say that. I could say, well, it has, you know, the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, it has the open world that people enjoy about Legend of Zelda. It has the closed world that people enjoy about. It has the open world that people enjoyed about the first Legend of Zelda, but it's very, like, you won't get lost, you won't miss things. And it has the, you know, it has dungeon exploration. It has interesting bosses. It has relatively unique enemies for the dungeons. Not totally unique, but every dungeon has hook enemies that are like, okay, this enemy is unique to this dungeon. So, for example, you know, like if you're in the Dark Fortress, it's those weird skeletons. The Eastern Fortress. If you're in the Desert Palace, it's friggin' worms. If you're in the Tower of Hera, it's those weird Triceraton things. I mean, there's actual friggin', you know, there's quality there. There's, you actually have to friggin', on a technical level, the game is very well made. Now, subjectively, I enjoy the game. I think it's well made, but on a technical level, I could say it's also a very well made game. So, people like to make the argument, well, that's my opinion, and that is your opinion, but, and your opinion isn't wrong, it's your opinion, it is simply how you feel about something, but I'm saying this as just on a technical level. Certain games are good, certain games are bad. Now, I'm going to out myself on this one. I fucking, one of my favorite titles of all time is, like, one of my favorite titles, my favorite games to play because it's just so damn unique, is, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is not a good game, okay? It's not a good Final Fantasy game. Now, it's fun, I'll give it that. It is a fun title, but it's not a good Final Fantasy game, okay? But I enjoy it. I like the differences that it added to the party. I like that it is very different from anything we've ever seen before. I like that. I like that it's a very different type of game. I like those types of things. Now, with that being said, the game does have some issues. The turn-based combat is kind of garbage. It kind of does things differently just to be different, which is kind of stupid, but whatever. And I'm not a huge fan of that, but overall, it's a very well-made game. And, even though I don't like Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, as a Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is just a nice little alternate to the Final Fantasies that came to the console. It's okay. It gets the job done. It's not perfect, but it gets the job done. So with that being said, let's talk about the other end of that spectrum, which is Square, which is, people saying, well, I like this game, therefore it must be good. No, your like or dislike of something does not make it good. It being good, you can judge it on its technical merits, as I said earlier. So, a good example of this is Mario 64. There are people who don't like Mario 64, and you know what? That's how they feel. I'm not going to judge their arguments on it. But you can't deny the technical prowess that Mario 64 has. The game is, relatively well made. It pretty much was fucking, the game still holds up on a technical level. Like, you still pretty much know what you need. You pretty much know what you need to do in order to get through the game within the first 10 or 15 minutes of gameplay. And I like that. I like that it is so very, that it's so very well made. I like that it, on a technical level, the game is well made. And I know what some people are going to say. They're going to say some shit like, oh man, how dare you? How dare you like something on a technical level? But I mean, I think games that are well made technically are a beautiful thing. And I think gamers need to stop being so damn, arguing that something is good because they like it. Look, there's tons of things I like that aren't good for me. I mean, shit, I love salted caramel milkshakes. I wouldn't eat those every day. So gamers need to stop being so, eager to like something just because they like it. That's not a fair or well put together argument. I like it. That's why it's good. There's tons of shit I like, and just because I like something doesn't make it good, and people need to understand that. But with that being said, I guess we'll move on to the conclusion after the cut. So it's time to talk about what is the conclusion. Just because you like something doesn't make it good. That's facts. Okay, there's tons of shit I like. Doesn't necessarily make it good. I fucking like bacon. If you eat it every day, it's not good. I like butter, but you shouldn't eat it every day. Now there are games that I enjoy that are fucking guilty pleasures, like fucking they're games that are guilty pleasures. Like they're not that good. I enjoy them. They're not great games though. So, you can argue that there are perfect games on a technical level. In terms of, did the developer succeed at what they were going for? Did the developer make a game that, was able to do what it needed to do? Shit like that. That being said, you can't necessarily say that a game is well made just because a game is good just because you like it. You can say that you enjoy it, and for you it's a good game, but I mean that's just your argument. So with that being said, let's move on to the upcoming events which will be coming out, that are coming up this week, for this week's BS Busters After the Cut. Okay, so upcoming events, very simple. This Sunday we'll be doing BS Busters, going back to our original format. And there's some bullshit that's come up this week that definitely needs to be talked about. Capcom figures, Keiji Inafune figures into it, and BioWare figures into it. So it's going to be a trifecta, if you will, of bullshit that's going to get busted. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of the video. Actually, don't enjoy the rest of the video because I'm going to end it after I finish with this. Then we'll move on to the next bit of information, and enjoy.